Kiddos, welcome to this week's homework where we're looking at the area of parallelograms and trapezoids. Now, our first page is a little bit of a throwback, but I wanted you to remember how we found our area of squares and rectangles. So for the square, area equals length times width, or we could do side squared. 8 times 8 is 64 centimeters squared. Over here, 17 yards, which would be 17 times 17, which gives you 289 yards squared. Rectangle, length times width, 15 times 6 is 90 millimeters squared. Over here, 5 times 9 is 45 meters squared. Double, double, toil and trouble. 12 times 23 is 276 feet squared. And then here, inches, 4 times 4 is 16 inches squared. Any questions on these? Bring them with you to class. All right, let's get into it. Looking at the area of a parallelogram. When we are finding the area of a parallelogram, we need to look at a couple of different pieces. Most importantly, we need to look at the length and the base or the height. So for the formula, it's area equals base times height. Area equals base times height. So for this one, we have a base of 13 and we have a height of 11. So if we look at our base of 13 and our height of 11, 13 times 11 gives us 143 meters squared. We do not need that extra side label. Base times height, 8 times 7 is 56 inches squared. Base times height, 5 times 4, 20 yards squared. Don't get confused just because I gave you the top measure instead of the bottom. Still going to be the same thing. Base times height, 15 times 5, 75 feet squared. Base times height, 272 centimeters squared. Base times height, 98 meters squared. Any questions on these? Bring them with you to class. All right, looking at our trapezoid. Trapezoid gets a little bit more complex in our formula, and you do have this on your formula sheet. The area equals A plus B divided by 2 times H. So for A and B, we're looking at the top and the bottom. So A and B, I'm going to go ahead and label them throughout just to give you a visual. Yes, I tried to flip some to keep you on your toes. We'll see if it worked. All right, let's write out our formula. So for this one, we have 13 plus 7 divided by 2 times 9. Make sure that you are computing these in the right order. So add your pieces. 13 plus 7 gives you 20. Half of 20 is 10. So really this is 10 times 9, 10 times 9, or 90 feet squared. Over here again, we're going to do our formula. So this would be 11 plus 19 divided by 2 times 5. Starting with your addition, 11 plus 19 gives you 30. Half of 30 is 15 times 5 gives you 75 millimeters squared. A plus B, 17 plus 28 divided by 2 times 10. 17 plus 28 gives you 45. Half of 45 is 22.5 times that by 10, 225. Don't let the decimal throw you, okay? Over here, 2 plus 8 cut in half times 6. 2 and 8 is 10. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 6 is 30 centimeters squared. Coming down here, A plus B divided by 2 times 3. 4 plus 6 is 10. Half of 10 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15 meters squared. Last one. A plus B divided by 2 times the height. 9 plus 14 gives you 23. Cut it in half. It's not pretty. It is a decimal, but that's okay. 11.5 times 12 gives you a whole number answer of 138 yards. It's really good to practice those decimals, okay? Make sure you're putting them in the right spot. If you need any help reviewing your decimals, let me know in class, okay? All right, sweet faces, we're looking for the missing length of our shapes here. So a couple of things we're going to point out, okay? When we are dealing with trapezoids, we have A plus B cut in half times the height for traps. And then for our parallelograms, we have area equals base times height. So we need to make sure, first of all, we're using the right formula and we're filling in what we have of them, okay? So for this one, this is going to be a trapezoid. So I need to do 4 plus 16 divided by 2 times an unknown number is going to equal 80. So let's look at our pieces here. 4 plus 16 is 20. Half of 20 is 10. So 10 times what mystery number equals 80? I can write that out as a formula. 80 divided by 10 leaves me with 8. My missing piece is 8 milliliters. I'm sorry, millimeters. Let's come down to our other trapezoid here because I want to keep this in the same brain space. So 3 plus, sorry, I started writing the formula. 3 plus an unknown number divided by 2 times 11 equals 121. Okay, so let's look at our pieces. If we do 121 and we divide it by 11, which is the opposite, that gives us 11. So we know that 3 plus an unknown number divided by 2 has to equal 11. So let's think backwards. If we have to divide it by 2, it's the same as multiply. So 22 is our total. If we have 3, what is our missing piece? Our missing piece is going to be 19. So work this backwards like you do your algebra, okay? So again, divide by 11 because it's the opposite of our multiplication. I know that 3 plus an unknown number divided by 2 equals 22. Multiply both sides. So I have 3 plus an unknown number equals 22. Subtract 3 from both sides. I get my unknown number is equal to 19. Again, if you have more questions, bring them to class. All right, let's look at our next one. Our next one is going to be our parallelogram. So for our parallelogram, we have area equals base times height. So I need to know 40 divided by 5 is what, right? Because we have the area is 40. We don't have the base, but we know that the height is 5. So if I divide both sides by 5, I get a base of 8 because 5 times 8 is 40. Over here, we need to do length times width. So I know that 60 equals 6 times x. Divide both sides by 6. 10 is equal to x, or the missing side. I know that a number times itself has to give me 49. I can use what I know about squares. It's going to be 7 because 7 times 7 is 49. And then our last one, we need base times height. I know 36 is equal to 9 times a number. Divide both sides by 9. X is equal to 4. All right, questions on these? I know this is a lot of algebra thinking, but any questions, bring them with you to class. Draw a model to represent the information given and then fill in the empty piece. So we have a base of 20 and we have a height of 7. And I want to know the area. 7 times 20 is going to give me 140 meters squared. We have a base of 17. We have another base of 11. And I want to know the missing height. So I know that 84 is equal to 11 plus 17 divided by 2 times a number. Work it backwards. I'm going to start with multiplying the 84 by 2 using our opposites. 168 is equal to 11 plus 17b. Keep working it backwards. 11 plus 17 is 28. So I'm going to subtract 28 from both sides. When I do that, I end up with a missing height of 6 inches. Okay? Down here, base of 16, area of 208. I have base times height, so 208 is equal to 16 times h. Divide both sides by 16. I end up with a height of 13. Over here, I have an unknown base, but I have a height of 8. This is unknown. So 64 is equal to 8x. Divide both sides by 8. I get a base of 8. Down here, I have a missing base, but I have a height of 18 and an overall yardage of 108 for the area. So 108 is equal to 18x. Divide both sides by 18, and I get a base of 6. Last one, I have two bases. I have 12 and I have 18. I have a height of 5, so I'm using my formula a plus b divided by 2 times the height. 12 plus 18, first steps. 12 plus 18 gives me 30. Cut in half is 15. Times 5, 15 times 5 is 75. All right, kiddos, I know this last page is hard, so if you have any questions, bring them with you to class. Good job, mathletes. Have a good week.